All right, this is going to be called the, let's go with Enoch readings. So many people, this is really sad, but so many people have been churched away. I'm going to bring the microphone a little closer to me. Have been churched away from the books that were taken out of the Bible. Basically, I'll do a video on the history of how the supernatural was taken out of the Bible and why, but it simply was. And you can find so much good supernatural information in something like this, or in something like this one right here. You see that? Yep. Lost Books of the Bible. That's what I'll be reading. 2nd Enoch. And I'm going to start with verse 8. But church, I know everyone calls themselves Christians. That's fine. I'm a true and faithful servant. That's what I call myself. But you need to understand the supernatural. And it was a guy named Augustine that decided he didn't like the supernatural. And so he would just put it upon himself to just rip it all out of the Bible. So thankfully, God knew this. And he had these books saved, preserved. And he put people on mission to make sure they would continue to be saved until one day they would be found, all brought together and published. So here we go, 2nd Enoch in verse 8. I'm sorry, chapter 8. And those men, now when Enoch is talking about men, he's talking about angels. But angels can shapeshift and look just like us. And those men took me from there and led me up onto the third heaven and placed me there. I looked down and I saw what this place produces, and that it was so good that such has never been known. And I saw all the sweet flowering trees. I saw their fruits, which were sweet smelling. I saw all the foods that came from them, and the food was bubbling with fragrant vapors. And in the middle of the trees was the tree of life, in that place where the Lord rests when he goes up into paradise. And this tree is indescribable goodness and fragrance, and adorned more than anything existing. And all sides of its form were golden and brilliant red and fire-like, and was completely covered, and it produced all fruits. Its roots in the garden at the earth's end, and paradise resides between spiritual and physical. The two springs come up out, send forth honey and milk, and their springs send forth oil and wine. And they separate into 4 parts and flow quietly around and go down into the paradise of Eden, between the immutable and the eternal. And there they go forth along the earth, and they have a circular flow, even as other elements. And there is no unfruitful tree here, and every place is blessed. 300 angels, which are very bright, and there to keep the garden, and with incessant sweet singing with voices which are never silent, serve the Lord throughout all the hours of the day. And I said, how very sweet is this place? And those men said to me, this place, O Enoch, is prepared for the righteous, who endures all manner of offense from those that exasperate their souls, who avert their eyes from iniquity, and making righteous judgment, and give bread to the hungering, and cover the naked with clothing, and raise up the fallen, and help injured orphans, who walk without fault before the face of the Lord, and serve him alone. For them is a place prepared, this place for eternal inheritance. Okay, that's exactly 100% exactly what Jesus says in Matthew 25, starting with verse 35. The exact thing. So if you don't think that there is goodness and truth in Enoch, think again. Enoch is being shown who is going to get into the millennial kingdom and into the eternal kingdom with God. Jesus says these exact words. Matthew 25, start with verse 35 and read down. Now, good news is God, and of course, knows the end and the beginning. He knows what people are going to eventually be doing to children. I guess they've been doing it since the time of Enoch. I don't know. But listen to this. So for all of us who've been waiting for justice to come, look, let's read what their eternal justice is going to be. Chapter 10, 2nd Enoch, chapter 10. And those 2 men led me up to the northern side and showed me there a very terrible place. And there were every kind of torture in that place, cruel darkness and gloom. There was absolutely no light at all, but murky fire constantly flaming above, and there is a fiery river coming out. And everywhere in the entire place is fire, and everywhere there is frost and ice, thirst and shivering. While the physical restraints are very cruel, And the spirits were fearsome and merciless, bearing angry weapons, torturing without mercy. And I said, whoa, this place is so terrible. And those men said to me, this place, O Enoch, is prepared for those who dishonor God, who on earth practice sin against nature, which is sodomy of a child, corruption of children, performing magic, enchantments, devilish witchcrafts, and who boast of their wicked deeds, stealing, lying, slander, envy, resentment, fornication, murder, and who are accursed and steal the souls of men. Those who see the poor and still take away their goods so they grow rich and injure them for other men's goods. And this is reserved for those who satisfy their own emptiness, made the hungering die. Those who clothe themselves by stripping the naked, and who did not know their Creator, but instead bowed to the lifeless gods, who have no soul, who cannot see nor hear, empty, who built carved images and bow down to unclean fashioning of useless gods. This place is prepared for these as an eternal inheritance. And all God's people said, Amen.